The door that no one dared to touch. Once upon a time there was a small village hidden among the mountains. It didn't appear on maps or on the main roads. It was a quiet place where life moved slowly, but hearts carried invisible burdens. The houses were humble, the streets were dirt, and people worked from sunrise to sunset to hold on to the little they had. However, in the middle of the village there was a different house. It wasn't bigger or prettier, but it had something that caught everyone's attention. An old light wooden door, always closed. The elders said that a good man lived behind that door. They said he helped anyone in need, listened without judging, and gave without humiliating. But there was a curious detail. No one dared to knock. Some would say, he must be busy. Others thought, he won't open the door for me. And many over time convinced themselves it's not worth trying. So the days, months, and years went by, and the door remained closed, not because no one wanted to help them, but because no one knocked. In that same village lived a sick woman with her young son. They had no other family. The boy worked however he could, but it was barely enough to eat. One afternoon, when he returned home, he found his mother weaker than ever. Her breathing was slow, her hands cold, and there was nothing on the table. The boy felt afraid, not the fear of darkness, but the fear of losing what he loved most. Then he remembered something his grandmother had taught him. When you need help, ask. When you can't find a way out, search. And when no one answers, knock. The boy left the house without knowing where to go. He walked through the streets, asked around, looked everywhere, but no one had anything to offer until he reached the center of the village and saw the door everyone talked about, but no one ever knocked on. His heart was pounding. He thought about leaving, thought it might be useless, thought the same as everyone else, but then he remembered his mother's face and decided to try. He approached slowly, raised his hand, and knocked once. No one answered. The silence was heavy. He could have left like the others, but he took a deep breath and knocked again, harder. Nothing. His eyes filled with tears, not from anger, but from exhaustion. Even so, he knocked a third time, and then the door opened slowly. Not with noise, not abruptly, but gently. Behind it stood a man with a calm gaze. He didn't seem surprised. It was as if he had been expecting him. "What do you need?" he asked in a calm voice. The boy lowered his gaze. "Bread. For my mother. She's sick." The man didn't ask questions, didn't ask for explanations. He smiled tenderly and invited him in. He gave him food, medicine, and walked with him to his home. When he saw the mother, he cared for her gently, as if she were his own family. Before leaving, the boy asked him why he never opened the door. The man replied, "It was always open. I was just waiting for someone to knock." The news spread throughout the village. At first no one believed it, but one by one they began to approach. An old man who needed company, a woman seeking comfort, a young man without a job, and all of them, all received something. Not always exactly what they asked for, but what they needed, because that man helped like a father. He never gave what could harm, nor denied what could heal. Then the village understood something it had forgotten. The problem was never the door, it was the fear of knocking on it. They had stopped asking, they had stopped seeking, they had stopped knocking. Reflection. Today's gospel gives us 3 simple but transformative words. Ask, seek, knock. 3 simple verbs, but demanding ones, because they do not speak of intention, they speak of action. To ask is to acknowledge that we are in need. To seek is to refuse to remain still in resignation. To knock is to dare to touch without knowing what lies behind. Jesus does not promise that everything will happen as we imagine. He promises something deeper, that God responds as a father, and a father does not give what harms, even if sometimes he does not give what we ask for at the expected moment. That is called trust. Many times we stop asking because we get tired. We stop seeking because we believe we will not find. We stop knocking so as not to expose ourselves to silence. But the gospel invites us not to give up inside. It also reminds us of something essential. The way we treat others is part of our relationship with God. Treating others as we want to be treated takes us out of the center and makes us more human. Lent is a beautiful time to ask ourselves, how am I asking? How am I seeking? How am I treating others? And to say to the Lord, teach me to trust without growing weary. Give me a persevering heart to keep asking, seeking, and knocking. Final message. Today remember, no sincere prayer is ever lost. No search made in faith is left empty. No door knocked on with hope goes unanswered. God always opens in His time, in His way, but He opens. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and help me grow this beautiful community where each reflection seeks to heal, accompany, and bring us closer to God, because whoever asks with faith always finds light.